Deluded, I'm back again.
Come on, Ian, man. Come on. Oh, come on, Ian. Just as the big man said there, in fact, because we've had some audio issues, let me just check the audio. I'm sure you lot can hear me. People, Deluded, I'm back again. Just as the big man Ian Wright said, people. Now, again, big up you lot. I hope you're doing well and safe. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, of course, good night, depending on where you lot are placed in this world. Big up you lot, whether you're on Twitch, Twitter, or YouTube. Make sure you're cross-following and doing the niceties in that regards, and you let me know your thoughts. Now, Arsenal been linked with Kingsley Coman. 1 minute, Eddie Nketiah is going to Marseille. Now it looks like it isn't a thing. Allegedly, there's talks around Tomiyasu potentially leaving, Ethan signing a new deal. And to be honest with you, I've got more tabs than I can count, people. And as well as that, we'll obviously see what Mikel Arteta has said. Please make sure you're smashing the like button. This will be a slightly shorter show just because at 6:30 I have a meeting, but I felt it was right to go live. I kind of missed you lot. Coleman signing, if signing is going to be the best signing according to me. I mean, I like Kingsley Coman as a player. He definitely got a lot of qualities that he could add. You know, he could deputise / compete with Bukayo Saka. You'd expect him to play on the left-hand side. Unfortunately, where Kingsley Coman's concerned, he's got issues where injuries are. So is it a thing of the illusion of Kingsley Coman is a lot better than the reality? And again, big up Chris, it's a hot day in the United Kingdom. I mean, what is it, 33, 34 degrees? It's boiling, man. And you probably see me numerous times do that, but we just have to get on with it. Well, go on, DG. Man has to apologize for missing yesterday's stream. Don't apologize because A, you can watch it again. 2, you're a busy man and you got things to do. 3, it's going to stay on YouTube. Coleman is a serial winner, but injury prone, man, and that's it. And I agree with you. You know, he is a serial winner. You know, he follows in. You know, if you're Jorginho, Kai Havertz, Gabriel Jesus, Zinchenko, I'm forcing it, but Declan Rice, a lot of players who have won multiple stuff or won something at this football club. So I wouldn't be against it, but yeah, man, I can't see it happening, man. I thought Scruffy was supposed to be the next breakout star from the academy. What's going on with Haylen Demons, DJ? I'm on to you. I mean, I'm not too sure on that, man. But, you know, you look at Brook Norton-Cuffy, obviously, first things first, you've got Benjamin White, you've got Timber, you've got Tomiyasu. They're all going to play ahead of you. Being a right back isn't going to make sense. You know, even that's another thing, you know, pick up Marcel, even though he's trolling in that, you know, Norton-Cuffy is seen to be leaving. Now, when you look at it, him and Charlie Patino, they need to play regular football. And at this stage in their career, you don't want to get in that trap of you're going on several loans. You come back at Arsenal, you're going on several loans. You don't have any stability. You know, you look at, we brought several youngsters that are younger than them over to America. They wasn't there, people. So it tells you what's going to happen. I do agree with you in that, you know, I don't think Brook Norton-Cuffy, unfortunately, has set the world alight, but 3 million quid is a bit of a madness. Saying that, though, I don't know why you're laughing. Fabio Carvalho got sold to Brentford. You thought a kid with a perm was going to make it at Scousland at Liverpool. That's crazy. And you're selling that Ben Clark guy. But even that, Ben Clark, you're getting like 10, 20 million. So we could learn, man. Bro, they brought in Nichols before Brook. That says it all. There you have it, man. I've got no clue why so many of our academy boys are jumping ship. It doesn't even seem like an issue on our side, like the Chido situation for me. Instantly gave me a bit of an arrogant vibe. I can't comment on, you know, Chido Obi Martin. I guess we'll find out one day. But naturally, you know, Norton-Cuffy's like 19, 20, 21. As I said, the pathway is blocked. You've got international footballers, players that have been bought for multi-million pounds. Now, Norton-Cuffy's a fullback. Tomiyasu's there, Timber's there, Benjamin White's there. Forget about it. Unless Mikel Arteta bets on you and says, you know what, you're going to get opportunities. If he hasn't said that or he hasn't put his hat on him, it doesn't make sense to still be at Arsenal Football Club. I would love for Charlie Patino to be given an opportunity. But the reality is Partey, Jorginho, probably Fabio Vieira. They're all going to play in midfield ahead of you. You bring in Mikel Merino for 20, 30 million, 28 years of age, Spanish international. It's a myth, really and truly. So, you know, go out and get yourself in the professional ladder. And to be fair, Jenna was a good step. I might not be making sense, and they both got cane rolls and are both fullbacks. But you look at is it Jed Spence of Spurs? He was obviously at Genoa on loan. That hasn't come to anything. He's still at Spurs, whether he gets an opportunity or not. Brook Norton-Coffey could probably take his spot. And obviously, Italy's a fantastic way of life, and typically is described as the university of defending. So if you're a defender, go over there. And from a lifestyle point of view, you know, your football, one luxury that being a young footballer or a footballer is you're playing in different countries, different leagues, different tactics, different life experiences, and all of that. That young right back who is 17, 18 is probably the closest at right back for now, to be honest. Josh Nichols. And again, he'll need a bit of time. And realistically, 17, 18, he's not ready right now. But even if you're good enough, will you get an opportunity? I hope so. I want all the Haaland boys to get an opportunity. But you look at who's in front of you. And we don't know. Arteta might wake up tomorrow or next year and say, I want another right back. Who knows, man? When Cedric is getting minutes over anyone, I'd book it. Yeah, you lot are better at selling players. That's where we could learn from Liverpool. Even Liverpool, you know, you lot sold Fabio for some peas, but I thought it was about players making it. You're going to sell Ben Clark for something. Obviously, you got Solanke on the free. Probably had to give some compensation to Chelsea. And I think you've got about 9 million in you lot's bank through his move to Spurs. That's where Arsenal need to get better at. You know, we're not selling players good enough. But then again, are we organising? And it's not an excuse, but are we organising the best of loans? Because if Norton-Coffey was at Chelsea or somewhere, I'm not saying he would have set the world alight. I genuinely believe you're at least making a conservative 10 million on him, but it's neither here nor there. We're getting pennies, you know. I don't think Charlie Patino's going to get a big fee. Hopefully there's a sell-on clause. Obviously, Mika Bereth has cut. And obviously, you know, a couple of other young players, and I think that'd be it. And then you probably look at the Eddies, wherever he goes. Do you know what? Eddie and Nketiah might even stay now, really. The club might say, you know what, we can't bring in a striker. We can't get a forward. We'll park off the Gyökeres thing. Kai Havertz is there. We probably bet on Gabriel Jesus to get injured at some point. Who told you all academy kids make it to the first team? Who said that it's 100% guaranteed? Tell them again, it's never guaranteed. And I'm not going to lie to you. A lot of these guys are just not good enough, bro. Like, yes, there are some people that should get opportunities, but some players are not good enough. I'll be real. And sometimes when I see social media, a lot of these people that are waffling about certain players and saying this and that, they have not watched 90 minutes. They have not. Now, Arsenal might hold some L's and players go on and do things, but how many times of all clubs has someone kicked up a fuss about a young player leaving 18 months, 2 years from now? No one really gives a flying monkeys, really and truly. And I think the better Arsenal get and Premier League clubs, naturally you're going to lose some players. Now, my gripe is the Charlie Patinos, the Mika Bereths, the Brook Norton-Coffeys, the Koza Dewberrys, the Waters. Imagine all them names I said. You made 10 million of those. I said about 5 to 6 names. That's 60 million out of nowhere, on top of what you would have got for Smith Rowe, potentially Eddie Nketiah and Reece Nelson, if and when they leave. That's where we could get better, in my opinion, man. But we have to keep it moving. I know everyone won't make it to the first team. DG knows I'm trolling. It's only a select few that truly make it. Yeah, man, he's trolling, man. It's all calm. Big up DG. Shout from South Bend, Indiana. Big up the Indianian ones. Edu fumbled on Eddie. I could take 27 million and run. Should have, really and truly. And I must admit, when I saw, we'll get into all of this, but when I saw the Wahi links to Marseille, I'll be honest, the first thought I said is, they're getting a better player. You know, Wahi is better than Eddie Nketiah, in my opinion. And Eddie's our guy and whatnot, but they're getting a better player, essentially. I'm wondering why Arteta never even get and looking. Not sure, man. Are we linked with Ivan Ferguson? Probably not, if I'm honest with you, but it's probably a matter of time. We know Arsenal's got an interest. Thoughts on Calafiori against Lyon? I thought he played better at left centre-back. I'll be honest, looks a bit rusty. Looks like someone that's not 100%, but I think he came on with a bit of intention. He wanted to make a difference, and I'm keen to see his future. Also, I think it was a good cameo, if I'm honest, in short, with Calafiori, but time will tell. Charlie should at least have been given a chance. I hear it, but at the end of the day, when is the chance going to come? When is the chance going to come? Arsenal have been fighting, and again, could have got more first-team action. When is it going to come? You've got Jorginho and Partey ahead of you, Declan Rice as well. We're trying to get 3 points. When is it going to come? I really think Charlie could have been given an opportunity and maybe would have put him in the shop window, man, but we'll have to see. Coleman isn't coming to play under Codeman. Damn. Just more late last-minute transfer rumours from a club fluent in 67 types of PR. The charade is over with. The facade is shattered. All I can say is I hope the club prove you wrong. If they're unable to do that, then it is what it is. Edu said be patient, and I'm not really patient. I would have loved to have seen signings in. Obviously, I'm going to praise and critique day in, day out, but until the window shuts, I'm going to stop drawing conclusions. My issue is, now, if we sign a striker, whoever that is, or a winger, I might change stuff. And I mean, no disrespect to Calafiori. I think he adds something. There's no disrespect to Mikel Merino. And it's not all about names. You know, you look at Liverpool's players, like the majority of them when they signed them, apart from Alisson and Van Dijk, at the point of entry into the club, nobody was looking at their players like, wow, you're going to do a madness. You know, Mane was a good player, but people were looking at him to be a world beater. People were very harsh on Mohamed Salah. Robertson, relegation left back. You buy correctly and you marry them together. Obviously, Firmino was doing all right in Germany, but weren't a madness like that. You buy correctly, you marry a couple of them together. Suddenly, you've got a great playing squad. So I don't want to be a name brand guy and diss players because they're not household names. Of course, as a fan, I would like that. But I look at what we've done already. And again, the window isn't shut. Are we stronger than we was last season by a couple of bells? Do we have a bigger squad? Probably, but there's speculation over a lot. Are we ready for next season? Do we feel a lot stronger of beating Manchester City for this Premier League title? I can't tell you necessarily I believe such, really. There's too many unanswered questions. You've got a couple of injuries, minor or not. I don't know if Kai Havertz is going to score those goals for the majority of the season. I don't know if Gabriel Jesus is going to stay fit. I don't know if Martinelli and Trossard are going to do what they've done in the last couple of years. You know, Trossard the last season, Martinelli the season before. The only one I can bet on is Bukayo Saka. Obviously, Moreno technically has not signed for this football club on the eve of us playing Wolves soon. Partey, I think we all expect him to get injured. I would say Partey, Zinchenko, even to a degree, Reece Nelson, Tomiyasu. I don't think there's a single Arsenal fan that expects them, and I hope to be wrong, but expects them to be fit for the majority of the year. So there's a lot of unanswered questions, really, and I guess we're just going to have to see. There's quality players out there in the market. It isn't as dead as how people are saying, which is true, but at the same time, it's not our job. Like, these lot are paid to watch football and scout. Arteta come out in February and said we've got one of the smallest squads. Recently come out and said we have meetings in March and April about what we want to do. Now, that probably tells you they've got their targets and they're looking at whatever areas they want to look in. I personally think Kai Havertz's form in the early start of this year maybe tweaked the thinking and made them a bit more relaxed in relation to signing another number 9. Whether that is the right way to go about things or not, I guess we're going to have to see, man. I ain't gonna lie, man, better allow the expectations for this window. I don't think the Edu quotes are real. If we don't get another signing in before the season starts, the club has let us down. Realistically, even if we do get another sign in the next couple of days, really, is Moreno going to start against Wolves? And I mean, the club has let themselves down if the window shuts and you haven't brought anybody in, really. So I wouldn't say let themselves down, because also I'm not backing the club in the sense of I'm not just saying this. We don't know what Edu and Arteta are doing right now. Yeah, the market ain't dead. Our scouting is horrendous, though. Bit harsh to say our scouting is horrendous. A lot of our signings have been quite good. There has been some misses. Once Arsenal wins a major trophy, the price for players will increase. Really, I hear you, but at the same time, I think the price is just a premium for all the English clubs. Everyone knows that they've got money, you know, like Wahi apparently is going from Lens to Marseille for about 30-40 million euros. We all know whether Arsenal, Chelsea, who probably tried to buy him, Liverpool, all of these clubs, if they tried to go for them, the price is going to jump up. It's like being an American or British tourist going on holiday. You're not paying local rates. That being said, there's obviously deals that could be done. Personally, I'm not happy with how we're acting. We're looking at what we want, but really why we don't accept a deal for Eddie Nketiah. But if we don't get an attacker or a midfielder, I'll be blunt, forget the league. Thoughts on Eddie staying after Marseille? Bro, the only thing I thought was forget a striker, innit? I hope that, respectfully to Eddie Nketiah, whether I rate him or not, it seems like out of all the clubs he was linked with, Marseille was the most tangible one. There were some timid links to Bournemouth actually over the weekend, owing to Solanke gone. All I can hope is that Eddie Nketiah says, you know what, I want to leave. Cool, the Marseille thing didn't happen. I'll need to go playing somewhere else in England. I just want to leave. My agent get that sorted, and we probably have to budge on the asking price. That being said, the club might say, you know what, we've got Kai, we've got Jesus. Eddie Nketiah, a bit like Reece Nelson, is a body. I disagree. Our scouting hasn't been the same since Cahigal was let go. It's very hit and miss, more miss than hit. I don't think in the last 2 years you could say that. We could definitely do better, but I think more of our signings have worked than they flopped. Of course, you've got the Tavareses, you've got the Lokongas, you've got, you know, Pablo Mari. If I can't miss, if it weren't 2 years, but you get the point. If I can't name them, then they're not good enough. But I think, you know, everyone can see Gabriel Jesus might not have been a difference maker. He's brought something to the squad. Zinchenko at the point brought something to the squad. Ramsdale, Benjamin White brought something. Tomiyasu brought something. You know, obviously Calafiori just signed, but I think it's fair to say he's brought something. Declan Rice, if I didn't say that. Martin Odegaard, Defo brought something. Trossard brought something. Jorginho brought something. Whether they've been good enough, whether we sign squad players and make them first team regulars, whether we put people in the right positions is another thing. But I think there's been more successes than failures. Of course, you've got someone like Marquinhos. Do you think your remaining incoming transfers are dependent on who you sell? To a slight degree, you'd imagine there's an allocated budget for incomings, but naturally, if you could get the Ramsdales, the Nelsons, the Nketiahs, the Kiviors, the whoever else is linked with moves away, naturally there might be a bit more money to play with. It's like you lot with Liverpool. You probably have the money to activate Zubamendi's release clause, but just because you got the money doesn't mean, that's all you want to do. But like I said, if you got money from the Solanke thing, Fabio Carvalho's gone, you're selling Ben Dork for about 10 to 20 million. This can make the club probably be a bit more, ambitious, if I'm honest. We've pretty much overpaid for pretty much most of our signings under Edu and Arteta. Is that necessarily true? Probably to a degree. I think Ramsdale for 30 million. We could definitely get better at buying and selling, but is it entirely true? I don't know if I agree. I don't think Zinchenko was overpaying. Don't think Gabriel Jesus was, coming from a Premier League club, you would do such. Declan Rice, of course, but that's just a premium you have to pay for a quality player. Benjamin White, 100%, because it was 50 million off the back of one Premier League season. Odegaard, 30 million is still, nobody can convince me otherwise. I think Trossard and Jorginho is probably fair value. Who else is there? Kai Havertz, defo overpaid. You know what? Yeah, we have pretty much overpaid, really, to a slight degree. It's very hit and miss in that regards. That's probably where we could get better. The issue is there's no time to close deals. We couldn't close a basic £1 million deal without stretching it a month. No chance to close things with little time left. But the thing, I hear you and you're not wrong. But at the same time, we're only speaking about what we see in the papers. We actually don't know what is happening at this moment. But yeah, I do agree we're wingers and probably a striker. I don't know who the winger is, but I think there's a budget for a winger. I think for a striker, unless we're going for that, like we're scouting and finding that unknown entity, I definitely think buying that striker, whether it's Gyökeres, Osimhen, whoever, I think we would need to sell, the more upper echelon players or the more high value players. You need to get like 30, 40 for Kivior, get something decent for Nketiah. Ramsdale, easier said than done, but you get where I'm going, man. The only transfer hits have been Trossard and Rice the last 2 years. Fair enough. I disagree, but again, like, nobody's right, no one's wrong. Keep your thoughts coming, man. But yeah, we could definitely get better at selling. I'm not taking Coleman, missed 16 games last season and on high wages. This is the thing. If we got Pedro Neto, you look at the games he's played over the last 5 years, his issues. Kingsley Coman, if you get him on loan with an option to buy rather than an obligation, then you can assess and see what's going on. We're linked with Sane. On ability like Coleman, I'm on taking him. But when you consider all the variables, is it the right thing? But are we in a position to kind of turn our nose up at these guys? And, I'm sure the club would have loved Nico Williams. Us fans therefore wouldn't have been against Pedro Neto. But then when you look around, do you go for a raw player like Bakayoko? Do you go for Coleman or Sane, owing to what Bayern Munich are doing? I'm not really a fan of it, but many people will look at what, obviously ability is different, but Odegaard was, fell hard on his luck at Madrid. Kai Havertz was being forced out of Chelsea. They're being held in higher regard now. People look at that and assume Mikel Arteta is a messiah. So you look at that, naturally, we're not going to get Rashford, but many people could say Arteta could work a tune out of Rashford. Many of our fans are actually on signing Mikhail Mudryk, which I don't know, man, because on one hand, if just because they're struggling at one club don't mean they'll struggle at Arsenal. But are we a football club or a charity? And Arteta is human. For as much as he's done well, he can't change everything, man. I would like us to sign a player or players that when they sign for the club, a bit like Calafiori, where you could get excited and see how they really boost our squad or starting 11 or whatever. No more rejects. I'm giving up on transfers. We take too long. Chelsea make us look like snails. I was wait and see when man was slandering Edu, but now even I think he's not good enough. I mean, if we can bring in someone better than Edu, like anywhere else, I'm all for that. But all I can say is I reserve the right to be proved wrong by the football club. It does make me nervous, man. Calafiori is a welcome signing, but I reckon most fans are upset because we had actual areas to improve on first. Striker, right winger, left 8, 6 keeper before getting a centre-back who can play left-back. To be fair, though, the basis of him being a left back as well as centre half, as you said, I'm not really fussed with that because the Athletic and all of these people said we're looking at a left back that is an area, so I'm not surprised. But the issue now comes in what you're saying there, my dude, in that if we don't address midfield, I would like 2 central midfielders. I don't think it's feasible to have Kai Havertz, who Arteta won't be shy on playing him there, to have Fabio Vieira, to have Partey, to have Jorginho, and as well as Declan Rice, and to assume 2 centre mids. I do think in bare minimum, if you can get me a central midfielder and a winger, it's not perfect, but I can move with that. But at this moment in time, we've only brought in a left back, and technically, you know, sign someone who was already at the club in David Raya. So we've got to get a move on, and especially considering the last 2 years, it's definitely not ideal for me anyways, because again, yes, there was Copa America and what's the other competition, European Championships, but in the last 2 years, these guys, the guys we wanted were in very early. You've seen them in the pictures and whatnot. So I'll have to see what happened to the Carrot Gold Glue deal. To be fair with you, we probably knew we weren't signing him. Between having Timber and California, it probably wasn't a thing. There's no need to sign him. DG, could you give us your opinion as to why our transfer activities have seemingly frozen? Not a clue. You know, the silence could be golden and mean things are happening. The silence could also mean, you know, we haven't got a clue. I honestly don't know, man. Any links to Eze? I mean, we're always linked with Eze, but are we going to put 60 odd million quid down? Psh, I'm not too sure. Josh Kroenke has to put some negotiating handbrake on Edu. I feel, listen, whether it's Arteta, Edu, Josh, they all say it's a collaborative thing. Make it happen. You know, you share each other's W's and L's. Make it happen. I don't want to hear excuses. Get the central midfielder in. Get the winger in as a minimum. If you can bring me a striker, fair enough. But I'm prepared to concede not buying a striker, if I'm honest. Sold Willock, signed Lokonga. Sold Smith Rowe, signed Fabio. Are we even making any profit? Probably not in that regards, man. I think Mikel and Edu are working fine, but if there's an upgrade, I won't mind. Not in a hurry to kick him out, though. Why not Eddie/Nelson plus cash for Eze? Is it too simple or just not likely because those deals aren't common? Bit of the two. You never know. There's a reality, but if you're Palace, put yourself in Palace's shoes. You probably want the 60 odd million for Eze if you are to let him go. You probably don't want to let him go. He could leave. Elise's obviously left. They're even Josh Anderson's even being linked with a move away. Their new manager's just got his feet through the door. Do you really want to let Eze leave? Now, Eze, respectfully to Palace, is probably angling for a move, really. He probably wants to play, you know, at a higher level in the Prem. How much would you want for Eze? Probably 60 odd. So, all right, cool. You say Nketiah and Nelson plus cash. How much do we value Eddie and Nelson? Now, clearly, we value Eddie and Nketiah about 30 million because we didn't get the deal with Marseille done. Nelson, I'm not sure because early doors he was linked with West Ham and Leicester. I like Nelson, but if I was trying to buy Nelson, 10 to 15 million is all I've really got for you. So what? If you say those players are worth what? Reece is worth 10, Eddie's worth 30, that's 40 million. If you're Crystal Palace, do you really want to accept that? Do you really think that's acceptable? Probably not. Kingsley Coman is staying at Bayern. Coleman is on like 250k per week. I don't know, only if Bayern pays some though. It's not going to happen. Eze will make money. Palace won't do swap deals for him. There you have it, man. Like, again, so it's probably a myth. And I do think we're getting to that point, if I'm completely honest with you. I know you can't just spend money. And I know it's, you know, good players are not necessarily available. Like in theory, Declan Rice wasn't available. We had to overpay. And I know it's not this simple. And I know we can't buy players, but I like that. But I am getting to that stage where obviously it's easier said than done. But you look at Isaac. In theory, you look at a Bruno Gomares. You look at these kind of players. It feels like we probably need to just spend the peas on these kind of guys that are going to take us to the next level or do what they can. I'm not too sure. Word on the streets is DG got inside info on transfers. Man, them saying DG have big links out here. Definitely not. Big up yourself, K, man. I hope you're doing well and safe in the building. Big up you lot. Keep your thoughts coming. Now, again, people, if I share my screen and we get straight into stuff. I mean, we might not have had any signings, but we've got a new shirt. And this is our first shirt, innit? This is kind of wavy. Shout out Patrick Vieira. I can't lie. I'm screaming that's the best shirt that we've released this year, man. I think our away kit is crap. The Links Africa stuff. Big up the reason behind it, but I think that's crap. Home kit's cool. This is amazing. Like, this is absolutely sexy. And with it being Carnival weekend next week, you're going to see a bunch of those in London, if I'm honest with you. I need to go and get mine. Now, let's get into the Eddie and Nketiah business. And we've got a lot to go over. I must admit, all the tabs are kind of all over the place. But Romano has said, Marseille have also informed Arsenal that Eddie and Nketiah's deal can be considered 100% collapse. Marseille didn't want to accept the 30 million package after having bids rejected, despite the green light from the player. Now, this is where I'm a bit conflicted because I do like the fact that Arsenal are trying to get decent fees. I do like the fact that we're trying to be more difficult in the market. And I don't know how the deal was phased. Just because it says 30 million doesn't mean it's realistic variables for us to get that. But at the same time, 30 million for Eddie and Nketiah, sell-on clause, keep it moving. It looks like we tried to be a bit too hard in negotiations. Obviously, it's hit us in the face. Now, whether it's Bournemouth or any of them Premier League clubs, back to the drawing board where Eddie and Nketiah is concerned, people. Carrying on that, we have got some more money from another sell. We know we've let Mikel Merino go. There's another Arsenal youngster departing. Arsenal in general are close to agreeing 3.5 million Brook Norton-Cuffy deal. Arsenal in general are close to agreeing the permanent transfer of Brook Norton-Cuffy for a total fee of around 3.5 million with a sell-on clause included, which is great. He's got over 100 appearances of senior football in League One Championship over the last 3 years, which I think we should be getting more than 3.5 million. I think he's actually only got a year left on his contract, so that could probably be that. But clearly we need to get better at selling people. Eddie staying actually annoyed me, but I heard a report that says if he leaves, then we sign an attacker, but if he stays, he won't. So, I mean, I hear it because it makes sense, but when you break it down, Eddie, Smith Rowe, and Nelson, their bodies in the squad, they weren't players like that. So, genuinely, if we are not going to sign an attacker because Eddie and Nketiah are staying, then that says everything about what we, in my opinion, about what we want to do as a football club. That's not serious. You know, how Eddie probably made about 20 Premier League appearances. How many were starts? How many did he play in the running? And in fact, where Nelson, Smith Rowe, and Nelson, Smith Rowe, and Eddie are all concerned, how many combined minutes did they play? So they should be irrelevant, really. So that will tell me everything. I hope we could win a league. You know, in theory, the vast majority of the players that have been here for the last 2 years have been the guys that have helped us finish second. But in terms of getting over that line, obviously we could sign a winger, striker, and centre midfielder and still not win a league. But we're not stronger. Fair enough. I just want to look at our attacking options in the same way I look at our defensive options, really and truly. I think there's too many question marks in central midfield. I like our striking options, but there's too many unanswered questions. And when you break it down, we got 91 Premier League goals. And I'm not mocking the set pieces, but how many came from set pieces? How many came from solely Trossard and Saka in instance? How many of our collective goals came at the end, the turn of this year, actually, where we're dumping teams 3-4-5-0? So I do think our need for a striker or more goals is potentially overrated, but I don't think it could be overstated. But we'll have to see. You know, these lot are paid millions of pounds, thousands of pounds to do this. Mikel Arteta, Edu, you've been in the professional game. Me as a humble fan can see this. I hope you can. And if you can't, then yeah, we're in issues there. Acting like we have a prime R9 on our hands with Eddie is actually some nonsense. To be fair, I thought 30 million in a sell-on clause is great and we can keep it moving there. And for Norton-Cuffy, for what it's worth, he's played no part of pre-season, so I'm not sure of his physical condition, but he does seem close to signing for Genoa, so we wish the Haaland lad all the best in that regard. So, yeah, people, the Gunners have worked hard to use the low market to maximize the value of their academy players. I mean, I don't agree with that. I mean, you know, Mika Bereth did leave for a club record fee from Austria to Austria in Stuttgart for 4 million, but could have got a 10. Other clubs would have sold him for 10. I definitely think Norton-Cuffy could have went for 10. Patino as a minimum could have gone for 10. Now, it's easy for me. I've got no experience in negotiations, but these are peanuts because when the time comes, Genoa are going to make a handsome profit, but we'll get our sell-on clause. Apparently, Edu teases you won't be disappointed, people. Arsenal sporting director Edu Gasper has asked fans for patience. The club aims to deliver exciting business over the final weeks of the summer transfer window. The Gunners have so far only brought in one new player. Smash the like button, people, in the form of left-back Ricardo Calafori, who, as you know, we got to see him against Lyon. Allegedly, Mikel Merino is said to be close to joining. Arsenal have been focused more on outgoings of late. Where's the outgoings? Cool, Norton-Cuffy. Where's the others? Fair enough, though. Whether it's, and I know it's easier said than done, but Kivior, Nelson, Aaron Ramsdale, and I've probably missed out someone, Nketiah. Where's the outgoings? You'll have to see. I think if we don't get another attacker, ideally a striker and a winger, personally, I think we've shot ourselves in the foot. Ultimately, if I'm honest, I think we'll get close, but not get all the way over there. And we could look at City as a guide point, but why can't we do the Liverpool thing in a sense of, obviously, Kai Havertz is not Firmino, and he obviously can score goals, but he's not a goal scorer like that, regardless of what he got last year. Cool, you don't want to have a prolific bagsman, but you need someone that's going to put up Saka numbers on the other side. I love Martinelli. If I'm just forgetting all of that and looking at winning a title, there's something seriously wrong if Saka doesn't get double figures again this season like he has. Trossard's got the capacity, but I don't know if he's necessarily going to start, let alone do that again. There's too many unanswered questions in our front line and in midfield. You know, defense wins titles, midfield wins games, strikers win midfield. Defense wins titles, midfield wins battles, strikers win games. We can win the midfield battle. Have we got the strikers that are going to make the difference for the whole season? Not flashes of brilliance, because I'm not dissing Havertz, but it's just a cold-hearted fact. You did it for half a year. And there's not a single player that's going to do it from game week 1 to game week 38. But Yeah, man. What have you said here? If someone needs 180 pages worth of scouting info for one player, something ain't being done right. I agree and disagree. I think the eye test should be there, but you can never, do too much research. Apparently, James Green of Sky Sports said, I was speaking to a couple of Arsenal fans who were on the US tour and had a chance to speak to Edu. Green claims Edu said, with regards to transfers coming in, be patient. You won't be disappointed at the end. Now, again, third party, we don't know what's going on there. But yeah, people, Eddie and Nketiah and Nelson are still linked with moves away. We're still linked with Mikel Merino. Similar to Calafiori, it is taking forever, but we have to move. This article more or less says that Sociedad don't want to lose Zubamendi and Moreno, and I'm sure Liverpool and Arsenal fans are hoping that they don't get their way, if I'm completely honest with you. So we'll literally have to see. There's been rumours they've been offered new contracts. Whether that's enough to keep them at the club, I don't know. Where Zubamendi's concerned, apparently Sociedad have informed him that either you or Liverpool have to pay the release clause or forget about it, if I'm honest. As you can see on screen, apparently, Arsenal are plotting a shock move to sign Bayern Munich winger Kingsley Coman on a season-long loan. Sources have told Football Insider. Sources say Coleman is keen on making a move this summer, but would seek assurances over playing time. Respectfully, I think he would play on the left-hand side, really, if I'm honest. Fake quotes from Edu, he never said that. It's better hearsay, man. Like you said, it's better here. Nobody knows anything. And I think naturally, even if Edu is following through on that promise, or if he's overselling and under-delivering, naturally, if you're Edu and you see fans in America, you're not going to tell them, oh, it's a tough summer, we're going to be in problems, really. You're going to tell them the best case scenario. So we'll have to see how that develops, people. The actual article has said, like we saw with Kingsley Coman, apparently he's keen on making the move to Arsenal this summer, but would seek assurances over his playing time at the Emirates. The winger is one of a number of wide forwards being tracked by Arsenal, as Mikel Arteta is keen on strengthening the position before the 31st of August. His availability on loan has alerted clubs across Europe who are now monitoring his situation with a potential late move in mind. He's also been linked with Barcelona as well, probably owing to the fact that the Kingsley Coman thing didn't happen. So we'll have to see, but it doesn't appear that, based on what they said there, we're interested, but we're not the only one. Coffee 30 million, not bad, but who will get Salah and Patino? I'm not gonna lie, should be getting more for Norton Coffee. He's made over 100 appearances. Whether he's been good or not, man, could easily get 10 million or a deal that equates to about 10 million. I probably still wouldn't be happy, but I don't think that's good enough, if I'm honest with you. But I don't think we're known or spoken of as being notoriously good transfer, men where outgoings are concerned. So we have to see. But yeah, Wahi to Marseille has got the here we go from Fabrizio Romano. 25 million euros plus 5 million add-ons. So basically the same kind of money that the same kind of money they would have got for Eddie and Nketiah. They got a better player. Why he's a better player, like in my opinion, he's a better player. He's got more stature in the game. We've seen him playing the champs and perform. Can't say the same with Eddie, with the greatest of respect. So I have to see. Yep, we've gone over the Kingsley Coman stuff, so we'll stop going over that. Barcelona apparently monitoring Kingsley Coman internally, owing to the Nico Williams deal not look like it's happening. So even if we want Kingsley Coman, it's not an assurance that he's going to sign for us. Again, obviously, we've seen the Eddie and Nketiah deal hasn't happened, people, but this article did say it was in jeopardy. And ultimately, the 30 to 35 million euro move, it hasn't come to anything. So really, there's no point reading that. We've gone over this Zubamendi thing before. You can check that out on my other videos. Arsenal allegedly are in discussions to hand Ethan a new 5-year contract, which at 17, he's probably not going to sign that until he's 18. Well deserved, man. It seems like, it's down to you, as Arteta has said. You've been given, fair enough, not in official games, but you've been in and around the first team, have been on the bench, has actually made your debut really and truly and got some Premier League minutes, which many of your young peers can't say. So it's down to him really, and it would be nice to get him to sign that new deal. So one bit of good news in this live stream, people, but again, he's already at the club. It doesn't really count. We're still linked with Osimhen. I've read this before. I don't think anybody cares. I do think Chelsea might circle back, because the move for Amaro Dion, you would have seen from him to go to Chelsea from Atletico Madrid, and Conor Gallagher in the opposite direction seems to have hit a snag. So they could very well go back in for Osimhen. There was some talks that Osimhen and Lukaku could potentially do a swap deal. I don't think Arsenal are interested in paying the money that's required of Osimhen. Now, Tomiyasu is out for a few weeks, as the manager Mikel Arteta said. Arsenal are open to offers. I do think in the next 18 months to 2 years, as much as I like Tomiyasu, naturally because of his injuries, people, he could be available. I don't think we're letting him go anytime soon, really. And if he goes before Kivior, there's issues, man, if I'm completely honest. It's not even about getting a striker. We need quality cover all round. We don't have that because of bad choices by management. All the data that Reece, Eddie and Fabio is not quality to carry us. Ethan and Skelly should get new deals. Well deserved, really and truly, if I'm honest. Coleman could start on the left, but zero chance he starts on the right. We got Bukayo Saka. Would you not get rid of Tommy? I'm not selling Tommy, but if these injury issues can keep going, you have to move him on, really. The best thing you can have as a player is being available. There's no point being a quality player that we rarely see. The Gunners could consider selling the 25-year-old in the final weeks of the transfer window if a suitable offer is received. Clubs in Saudi Arabia showed interest, and during negotiations for Calafiori, there was talk of Tomiyasu possibly returning to Bologna, the club Arsenal brought him from in 2021. The Serie A side were tempted to bring Tomiyasu back as a replacement, obviously, for Calafiori. However, due to owing a huge chunk of money from the Calafiori sale to Basel, a deal wasn't feasible. A potential stumbling block could potentially be the fact that he's obviously suffered an injury, as it says there. So, yeah, and obviously you've got Lewis Skelly progressing at an inverted left-back role. I don't think he's going to, disrupt the pecking order anytime soon, but depending on his development, that could mean something indirectly for Tomiyasu because of these injuries, for Kivior, and probably there's another one. There's definitely another one. Zinni's got 2 years left on his deal, so we'll have to see what's going on there. I don't think anybody cares about this Eddie Nketiah stuff now because, the fact is it hasn't happened. We haven't sold you. It's a myth in that regards. So, yeah. And probably for Eddie Nketiah, it's disappointing because, you want to move on and make progress where your career is concerned. This has nothing to do with us. Kivior still linked with Juventus. Apparently, Juventus is still on him. But how true is that? Because apparently Juventus are close to signing. Who's that French defender from AC Milan? They're close to actually getting him. So they might say, you know what, he's cheaper. He's a versatile defender. Forget about it. And also, if you're Juventus and Inter and AC, how are you going to give Arsenal what they want, which is probably a permanent transfer or an option or an obligation to buy versus an option? So I'm not too sure what we're going to do there, man. It seems like we're stuck with him. So what would it be fair to say? Kivior brings in 20 to 30 million and Nketiah the same. So you could say probably that's what 30 million taken off our table. As I was saying, yeah, people, Juventus seem to be getting a defender in, so that they could still go for Kivior. Obviously, Thiago Motta was his former manager, but that would tell me they've got a body in already, people. He's still linked with Inter Milan as well. Whether these things happen are completely different things. Reports in Spain say Mikel Merino's future should be resolved in the next few days. Arsenal allegedly are pushing hard to close the deal, while Sociedad have offered to make him one of their highest earners. Apparently, he's even informed the president that he wants to cut. I've covered this already once we get to see it. Bakayoko has said he's not going to sign for a mid-table Premier League team. He wants to play in the Champions League and for a team that has a chance basically to become champions, in which would make sense to sign for Arsenal or Liverpool or someone else. Everton apparently were interested in Eddie Nketiah, but owing to financial issues, that's off the table. Let's offer him to Bournemouth, man. I don't know if he'll replace Solanke, but they need a striker. They just got 65 million. Let's go and do that. Should we go back in for Evan Ferguson, people? He's available for 50 million. He had an underwhelming second season. He's 19 years of age, and he's kind of used he's obviously got all the ability in the world to be a top striker. He's obviously used in some sort of rotationary sort of role at Brighton. We could easily do that at Arsenal. While him being 19, there's a lot of uptake. Chelsea and Manchester United are apparently considering an offer for him, people. He's got 5 years left on his deal. Brighton are notoriously difficult to do business with, so it's easier said than done. Doué of Rennes, who I would have loved that at the Emirates, people, has apparently rejected any potential move to Tottenham Hotspur, Arsenal or Bayern Munich, and chosen to join Paris Saint-Germain. Best of luck to the 19-year-old, if I'm honest. Chelsea will also work on outgoings. Apparently, they're looking to get João Felix, and Raheem Sterling can leave if João Felix returns. So I think it's safe to bet at some point we are going to get linked with both Mudryk and Raheem Sterling, maybe even Sterling on loan. Sterling on loan, would that necessarily be the worst of things? I like the guy, but yeah, I want to know you lot's thought. Saliba has spoken on Calafiori as well. He said, I'm so happy for him. I think it's only the beginning. He's a really good player, young as well. We're so happy to have him with us, and I hope he'll have a really good season with us. Arteta said he brings a lot of versatility because he can play in 2 or 3 different positions, especially in attack, occupying different spaces because he's a real defender. Brings me back to Pep Guardiola's comments about having strong defenders in 1v1 situations. When you see his press, pause, and physicality, how he goes into duels, it's unbelievable. And then obviously he's done a lot last year. He's a player that can improve us. Fair enough. What about getting some more players that can improve us, people? I'm not too sure on that. Saliba obviously bagged against Lyon, people. He obviously said we played all right, and we've gone over the Calafiori comments, people. Should we see exactly? Oh yeah, big up Bukayo Saka, who's been nominated for PFA Young Player of the Year. Mikel Arteta obviously praised the performance. He praised the reception of Calafiori. He spoke on the effectiveness of set pieces. On Timber, he said it's fine. He's been doing some individual work that's clear now, so we expect him to be ready to train with the group in the next week because he has no reaction, so quite positive, which is very different when he speaks about Tomiyasu. Yeah, I think it will take weeks on that one. Unfortunately, he's going to have to be patient and work through it because I think it's going to take a few weeks. So are we going to let Kivior leave while this stuff is around Tomiyasu, especially because, yes, they're not like for like, but they're all defenders, people. He did speak on Kai Havertz's versatility. He spoke on managing Martinelli and Trossard's minutes. We obviously know Havertz is versatile. We know Partey and Declan Rice have a good partnership, so I won't bore you lot with that, people. What else have we got? Could it be a case of going for Chiesa? But apparently he wants to stay at Juventus, so it seems like a bit of a dry day. We're hoping to get the Mikel Merino stuff sorted. It's nice to actually be linked with a new name in Kingsley Coman. Being linked isn't enough, but you get the point, folks. So it's jarring. My word, I hope we don't sign Sterling and Mudryk. I'm worried now. There's still Moreno, 28 years of age, 1 year left, and we're taking a month to close packet in. I'll cut the club the luxury that he has been playing at the Euros, and he's obviously had a holiday, but it shouldn't take this long. Bournemouth want Victor Rook, but he's not a pure striker like Eddie, but that probably means forget about it. Our backups like Eddie, Nketiah and Nelson aren't rated by anyone. But to be honest, Eddie was rated by Marseille. We just priced him out of a move in hindsight or messed up the negotiations. It's a miracle we're competing with a team that can sell their backup striker for 90 million. There you have it, bro. And even that, quite the profit really and truly on Julian Alvarez. Bit harsh. Big up Lewis Skelly. Just a young player, man. Allow him, man. What's all of that? Couldn't we give Kivior to Bologna on loan with an obligation? Apparently, Zuba wants to pay his release clause. I don't want to deal with Zuba, I think you're saying. I mean, report said Kivior don't really want to go to Bologna, so there you have it. Eddie is staying for the season. Get used to him coming in and being half-arsed and good once in a blue moon. Harsh. We can't even sell Eddie. No chance of selling Tommy. If Arteta thinks he can win the EPL with Zini, Kivior, Jorginho, Fabio, Nelson, and Nketiah and Havertz, he's not the man for the job. Boy, I wish there was something else I could say to you lot, people, but we're here seeing the same things, man. Funny, no one's mentioning Kivior was another dud of a transfer, already been replaced by California, who's only kicked a ball in the friendly. I don't rate Kivior. I think I don't rate him too tough, but yeah, man, it didn't work out. Kivior not leaving at this club. Stick around and you'll get minutes. Where is he going to get the minutes? You might come off the bench and help us close out games, but you're at the bottom of the pecking order, like really and truly. Like, if I'm completely honest. The only thing I think in an official Premier League game where 3 points are on the line, I don't think Lewis Skelly is coming on before Kivior. I think Kivior will play left back, but young Lewis Skelly's one to watch. He's obviously better in that inverted role. Obviously, Tomiyasu, Timber, California all ahead of you. Centre halves, I think Benjamin White, Saliba, Gabriel, Tommy, Timber, all of them guys will play centre half before you. Kivior didn't work, and I think a bit of it is Kivior just don't look confident for me, and I don't think he's got an outstanding attribute. I do think he's a decent player. I do think he needs to go somewhere where you're going to play in your position on a regular basis, but I just don't think it's worked out, really, man. If Arsenal were a real club, I mean, literally physically got a stadium, they would sell Ramsdale for 25 million, Tini for 20. You know we're not getting 20 million for Tini, though. Zini for 20 million, Jorginho for 5. If we're going to sell him for 5, might as well let Jorginho stay for the squad. I wouldn't mind getting 15 million for Nelson. Fabio Vieira, nobody's giving us 20 million because he's not done anything. Gabriel Jesus for 25 million. And say what you want about Gabriel Jesus. We need to keep him for the squad for this year at least. Eddie probably need to budge on the asking price, man. Kivior is an okay player, but he will get a loan somewhere near the end. Same with Ramsdale. And I mean, if Ramsdale's truly wanted by Wolves, we might as well flog him over there. They just got 60-odd million euros, 50-odd million pounds for Neto. But again, it's easier said than done. And this is what happens when the recruitment is poor and these players are on good wages, really. For Nelson, he's made it clear he wants to leave because we saw that in the Athletic. The Leicester move went away. The West Ham move went away. The club might say, do you know what? We've got you as a body, in which we could probably do okay next season. But in terms of winning major silverware and falling short, the theme of the last 2 years is going to be there. It's more hope than concrete evidence that we're going to fight for stuff. But let's hope the club can prove us wrong in that regards, man. They might pull a rabbit out the hat. You know what they say, though, in life? It is the hope that kills people. So there's actually nothing I can tell you. What I would say is, can we close the Moreno deal? And while we're not gonna, we're not excited, can we salvage some of the summer market, in my opinion, by bringing in an inside forward? I'd love a striker, but I've given up on honestly, of bringing in a striker. I don't know who, which could be a blessing or a curse, but I've given up on that, man. DG thoughts on Coleman, quality player, but are you going to be fit? How the hell did Liverpool get 20 M's for Carvalho? What memorable moment does Carvalho have? Men went on loan and did nothing, yet Nelson is rated below 8 M's. Because he went on loan and did well at Hull, and also Liverpool are better hustlers than us, really. It's not what the players are worth. I think we're all seeing what you can hustle, and we're struggling in that regards, man. Also, something else worth mentioning, only 6 players in the squad earn less than 100k. What was Arteta, Edu, Garlic, Lewis chatting about during the All or Nothing about dud players on massive wages? But I can't. I wish you could get to ask them that question, because I want to know the answer as well, man. Really. Now, some of that is probably due to inflation and the fact that they're young and whatnot. But there you have it, man. Do you think the midfield needs to go up a level? Evidently, man. Like, I like Partey. Don't know if you're going to be able to play 25 or at least 30 of the 38 games. Same goes for Jorginho. Declan Rice is cold. I think Merino had something, but I between this season and this summer and next summer, midfield needs major surgery, man. Like, major surgery, really. If we could have 2 kind of dual players like Declan Rice that could play as an 8 and a 6, why not, man? And it's probably not it is a priority, but we've got more pressing issues. Who plays if something happens to Odegaard? I reckon Kai Havertz goes in the 8. I mean, in the 10, sorry, because he can mimic what Odegaard does off the ball, not necessarily on it. You've obviously got the young Ethan, but you need to let my man develop. You've got Fabio Vieira, which is going to be hit and miss to describe it at best. Don't know what to say, man. All I can say, people, is I'm just going to comment on what's being said, what we're seeing in the papers with you. I'm riding this tide with you. Tierney, we're making a significant hit on Tierney. We're not going to get our 25, 30 million pounds that we paid Celtic. Plus, Celtic probably have a sell-on clause. Plus, you know, Tierney's been getting injured. And he hasn't exactly, pardon me, pulled up any trees at Sociedad. So, it is what it is, man. Are you surprised players like Fofana hasn't made a move yet? He's available for 20 M's. Yeah, I am, to be fair with you. But no, I'm not, in the sense of I don't know what offers he's got. I don't know what offers he's waiting on. I don't know how ready he's to make the move. Because running down your deal is also a good thing as well, man. Youth is no use anymore. Need the best of now or no. I hear that. Coleman injured every 3 working days. No thanks. That's harsh. Man City will get their 5th title in a row. I've given up witnessing our poor transfer activity. I mean, even if we sign all the players we want, we're probably unlikely to pip City, but it just feels a bit underwhelming. But I might feel like this midway through the transfer window. Hopefully, I don't feel like this by the end. As I said, people, unfortunately, though, why it's been a negative kind of sentiment around Eddie's move not happening, still not getting Moreno over the line, getting pennies for someone like Brooke Norton-Cuffy. It's always a pleasure to talk football with you lot. I would be here for a bit longer, but I've actually got a meeting at 6:30. So first things first, I appreciate you lot for giving up all of your time, your opinions, your differences of opinions, etc., etc. Check out the other videos. Don't forget to hit the like button and make sure you're signing up to my second YouTube channel, DG Sports Views. And that being said, hopefully the next time we link up, we're in more positive kind of moments, people. But for now, you lot stay safe, stay blessed. And yeah, man, if Arteta is looking for a fullback,
against this right back, Charlie.
Always just like, when like,